Funding for this video is brought to you by viewers like you. Thank you.
What's up, punks? Pranked, and welcome to video. We're standing in front of the bookshelf, so you know we mean business today. But simple, beautiful, mundane business, because as you can tell by the title of this video, we will be participating in the aesthetically pleasing book tag, which is so old the original video doesn't even exist anymore. I'm gonna participate now, better late than never. So you know, since life has just been so chaotic lately, I thought it could be fun to just marinate in the beauty that is the following book covers. Because I'm a book collector, so I admit, I judge books by their cover. I do. I have ordered books from different countries in order to have one cover over a different one. I've dropped extra money to get one cover over a different one. The point is, if you're anything like me, I'm here to remind you that you're not shallow if you care about the cover of a book. If anything, you are more appreciative. Cover designing is an entire career. It's a skill set, and the fact that you can discern a bad cover from a good cover keeps people in business. You're welcome, economy. I don't see any shame in marveling at how books are decorated, is all. So that's what we're gonna do today. Are you excited? I'm excited. Also, don't worry, I'm gonna be giving you one simple logline elevator pitch of each book, what it's about, so then if you also fall in love with the cover like I have, you have an excuse to buy it and read it and own something beautiful. Everybody wins. Anyway, let's begin. First question, best color combo on a book cover. I have so many for these. I have so many for a lot of them. Spoiler alert. The first one on the list is Limbo by Deb J.J. Lee. This is a graphic memoir about an author emigrating from Korea to the United States. I broke my book buying ban for this one. Look at the colors. Just look at them. Are you kidding me? It's so beautiful. But also, Elsewhere by Alexis Shakin. This is a dystopic sci-fi lit fic that takes place in a small town in the mountains, and it's centered around motherhood. From my understanding, it's reminiscent of Midsummer. It's on my TBR, so I haven't read it. I can't tell you exactly, but I am so enamored by this cover. The painting, the contrast of the orange and the blue and the purples and the everything just pops. Also, Pale View of Hills by Kazuo Ishiguro. I love this color combo, the pale blues and the pale pinks. This is just so comforting and inviting to me. This is a very short book about a woman who is mourning the suicide of her daughter. Honestly, this whole collection of Kazuo Ishiguro books that have this little square, they all slap, but this one and the following are my favorite of all of them. The other one is Clara and the Sun by that very same author. Not only am I a sucker for primary colors, but specifically these shades that they selected are so popping. Come to think of it, this one fits this simple cover question as well, but the color specifically is what makes this one slap for me. This one is about an AI in a sci-fi dystopia type world who wants to be adopted or purchased by a group of humans, and she can leave her toy shop and fulfill her purpose. Gorgeous! What else is there? Oh boy, this next one's gonna knock your socks off, because this edition of Kafka on the Shore by Haruki Murakami is out of this world. So much so that this broke my Murakami ban. I thought I wouldn't read anything else by him, but this cover made me reconsider. This is a magical realism story about a teenage boy, but if we know anything about this author, we know that it's gonna get weird. The colors on this, the fact that it goes all the way around, this also fits the naked hardcover question. We're kind of using the questions as guidelines, but really this is just me screaming to the heavens about how beautiful these covers are. Do any of us care about the rules? No. It's your life, make your own rules. What's next? Another book that I have yet to read, but still beautiful. Moth by Melody Razik. This is a historical fiction about the partition split of Pakistan and India shown through one family. The color palette of this one has captivated me. I had never heard anything about it, but I saw it at Waterstones and I just had to get it because it was so beautiful. The inside also seems beautiful, so it seems very fitting, it seems very matching, but I could not talk about book color palettes without mentioning this one. I think it would have been a crime. And I'm a law-abiding citizen. I'm talking really fast because I always talk fast, but also there are so many books to get through. I think you're technically supposed to pick one per, but I don't know how to do that. So, okay, I'm a serious sucker for the orangey yellow meets fuchsia bright pink. It's very 70s, it's very eye-catching, it's very glamorous to me. I love it. So, naturally, The Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School would be on this list. This is one of my all-time favorite YAs about a teenager named Yamale. It says a lot about sexuality, cultural identity. It was just so good in my opinion. Anyway, this isn't a review. I just want everyone to appreciate these beautiful books as much as I do. And it really hits harder when the inside is just as good as the outside. And this is one of those instances. So, I think Milk Fed by Melissa Broder also fits this bill so well. I love the orange, I love the pink. It's obviously a simple cover as well, but again, it's the colors that drew me in. It's the colors that made all of those bookstagram photos so iconic. This is a sapphic story about a woman who has disordered eating habits and the woman that she falls in love with who loves to feed her. Okay, just one more example. I think my absolute favorite color palette slash some of my favorite covers ever are from the Lobizona duology, because not only do they both go together, but just look. Are you kidding me? The font, the typography, the color palette, the details. Also, just remember that Under the Dust Jacket is amazing as well. Hats off to the people who made these books. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, what's it about? This is a gender-defying YA duology that holds such strong themes about immigration and being a refugee within a younger and accessible world of witches and werewolves. Beautiful. Okay, let's get my life back together here. So yes, as we've already discussed, I will not be picking just one book per category, and we're gonna continue with that nonsense within the best typography slash font on a book cover. Let's go. I gotta mention A Certain Hunger by Chelsea G. Summers. This is a story about a female serial killer who seduces men so she can kill them and eat them. Just this cover overall. This was another one of those all over Bookstagram books about this time last year. The combo of this gorgeous oil painting and the painted letters, exquisite, amazing. I also think Ruth Ozeki's The Book of Form and Emptiness fits this bill as well, of course. This is a dual POV about a boy who starts to hear voices after the death of his father. I may have struggled with this one, but it does have some of the best quotes that I've ever read ever. Very mixed feelings, very confusing. But what I'm not confused about is how iconic this typography is. These big bold letters, the colors they chose. It definitely also gets points for the spine. This draws you in. Okay. Oh yeah, I also have to mention Sharks in the Time of Saviors by Hawaii Strong Washburn. This is a Hawaiian story that spans many years following one family after a magical event that shaped all of their lives. This sketchy title, so good, so good. And I know that a lot of us hate this little flap, but you know what? I think I like it sometimes. I think it adds a nice contrasting color to the sides. This blue peekaboo with this bright yellow, sketchy, incredible. Such good design choices all around. I also really love the cover for How to Do Nothing, Resisting the Attention Economy. This is a nonfiction about doing less, and the cover is so simple but yet so strong. I love how the words are layered beneath the flowers in some of the areas. It really is the little things that make such a huge difference. In the same vein of very simple font that still makes a huge splash, we have Body Grammar by Jules Oman. Are you kidding me? This is a coming-of-age queer love story that takes place in the harsh world of international modeling. I haven't even read her yet, and I can still tell that this cover is an excellent representation of what we're in for. These bold white letters against the backdrop of these actual photos. This is such a strong cover. What else have we got? Oh yeah, of course. I'm taking her off my favorite shelf because I can't stop thinking about her. I read this in November. It's March. She's popular, but I think she deserves it. And it is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. Do I even need to say anything about this? I mean, come on. Look at this font. Look at the painting. Look at the shiny. This deserves all of the awards. It all just goes together so well. I love it so much. I also think that this accurately tells you what you're in store for on the inside. This is about two friends who have been friends since they were children, and their lives remain intertwined through the world of video games and video game making. It also has great chronic pain representation. So need I say more? The next category is the best simple cover. Now, I've got a few. Is anyone surprised? No. The Scythe trilogy by Neil Shusterman. Now, this trilogy is about a future utopia where people are immortal, all illnesses have been cured, that type of thing, and so to control the population, it's an accepted profession to be drafted as a scythe and randomly take people out, which is such a strong concept, but I think the covers are equally as strong. Each one has their own bold color, limited color palette, but they're so eye-catching, and they're delightful to have on my shelves. Okay, let's get even simpler, shall we? I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. This is just such an iconic cover to me. The color, the simple shape, atop a real photo, and also this book is a favorite of mine. It's about a group of women who are trapped in an underground cage. None of them remember how they got there, and their captors don't speak to them, but don't get it twisted. This is not a thriller. This is a slow, existentially flavored exploration of womanhood. Truly powerful from cover to its final page. Also, to make a little bridge between best typography and best simple cover, and also great simple colors as well, we have Burn Journal by Brent Runyon. This is his true story from 1991 when he was 14, when, for reasons unbeknownst to himself, he decided to come home from school one day, douse himself in gasoline, and light himself on fire. And it shows his healing journey and the thoughts that he had throughout all of that. Such a story and also such a cover. This next one I haven't read, but again, broke my book buying ban because I was so drawn to it at the shop. I've actually broken my book buying ban a few times. I'll confess all my sins in this video, don't worry. But the one I'm talking about right now is The Year of the Cat, a love story by Rhiannon Lucy Coslet. This is one I very recently picked up. I'd never heard of it, but the power of covers, you know what I mean? I also opened it and read some parts and was just immediately sold. It's about a recently married couple who want to really start their lives, buy a house, have a family, but they can't because they cannot afford to live without roommates, and so they get a cat instead. Simple, but again, it tells you exactly what you're in for. Okay, the simplest cover on this list is All My Rage by Saba Tahir. This one also gets a lot of points for the color choices as well. This book bounces through characters in one family between Pakistan in the past and California now. It's one of my favorite young adult books that I have ever read, and I think that this is such a great example of a cover being inviting enough enough, but doesn't overpower what's inside. The two shapes overlapping is such a strong yet simple metaphor of the worlds of these characters overlapping yet remaining separate yet connected. This cover is not only extraordinary to me despite its simplicity, it's extraordinary to me because of its simplicity. Hats off. However, I think the book that is crowned best simple cover ever and also one of my favorite books of all time is Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauner. This is a memoir about our author navigating life after the death of her mother. It's the only book to ever make me ugly cry, and in my opinion, just the most iconic simple cover I have ever seen. I was on such a hunt for the sketchy noodle cover. I needed this version. I'm so happy I have this edition. Obsessed. The next category is Best End Pages, and I have two books for this category. The first one is Maps for Spectacular Bodies by Maddie Mortimer. This is a very complex and poetic literary fiction that meditates on illness and death. Our protagonist receives a serious diagnosis, so not only are the end pages beautiful, but just so fitting as well. The cell skin microscopic design is such a beautiful addition. Like, they didn't have to do that, but they did, and I appreciate it. And my next choice for Best End Pages is Uzumaki by Junji Ito. This is a graphic horror manga that I just finished reading. It's easily the strangest book I've ever read, but it's all about a village that is taken over by this spiral curse of sorts, and even though the pages are black and white, we're gifted with this gorgeous colorful collage of some art from within the book. So much detail, so good! The next category is Best Map. And while I'm not the biggest fantasy reader, so I don't have that many examples of this, there is still one that sticks out to me despite not even having read it yet. Allow us to admire the following. It's gonna take a little bit of effort. Six Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim. This is the first of a duology that I have on my TBR shelf about a girl who refuses to marry, and so her family is cursed, her brothers become cranes, and she embarks on this adventure to save them. This is one of those books where there are two editions, but both covers are so gorgeous. But the map is just so detailed. I love the little dragon, so she wins this category for me. As we saw earlier, I love nothing more than getting a hardcover, taking off the dust jacket, and being surprised with what's underneath. So I think my favorite category of this whole video is Best Naked Hardback. The first winners of said category are two books that I own for the Six of Crows duology. This is a widely beloved fantasy heist duology. For whatever reason, these gorgeous editions were the most affordable online when I ordered them, and I'm so glad because these are some of the most gorgeous books I've ever owned. They have black painted edges. They don't even have dust jackets. They're just these shiny meets matte collages of little references to the story, and they just blow me away. We also have these three classics that I need to read for a reading vlog. I swear it's coming out soon. This one has the best spine, so we'll save her for later. But let's talk about these two. We have The Secret Garden, which is a children's story about the many secrets in our protagonist's uncle's backyard, and also The Hobbit, which is a prequel to Lord of the Rings. Neither of these two have dust jackets, and they are just so beautiful. I'm so glad they don't. And it's because of these covers that I'm less intimidated to read them, because that means that I get to spend time with their beauty. Thank you to the designers of these. Another one is Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer, another favorite of mine, a nonfiction that weaves nature facts and spiritual wisdom. Of course, this one is simple as well, but I think that what makes it so strong is that this is not on a dust jacket. One of my favorite covers ever. Oh yeah, how could I not mention Seconds by Brian Lee O'Malley? Look at this. So strong. So strong. This is a butterfly effect time travel-y type. You can go in the past and change one thing. How much would that change your life? It's a graphic novel. So good. Also, very similar to the Lobizona covers, and also gets points for the inside papers. But we also have How Do You Live by Genzaburo Yoshino. This one is about a teenage boy who is pondering life's biggest questions through letters with his uncle. And it hits all the boxes as far as great story, great themes, beautiful cover, beautiful everything. Every detail just seems so well thought out. Editing alley here. The Seas by Samantha Hunt is also a top tier naked hardback in my opinion. It's about a young girl who lives in a small fishing town and she believes that she is a mermaid. I hear it is very good. I paid extra money for this cover specifically because I'm so obsessed with it, so I needed to mention it. Bye! However, in my opinion, the best naked hardback is Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. I had no idea that this is what was under the dust jacket. This is a YA about how two girls' lives intertwine after a plane crash. Look at this! Look at this! What? They went so hard with this, and I appreciate it. The next category is Best Back Cover. The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. This is a short story that follows a man's adventure, and he meets people along the way, and they teach him these profound lessons. This edition of this book is so lovely all around, but luckily the back was not excluded from that lovely. It has this cute quote. It says, "To realize one's destiny is a person's only obligation." This is just such a beautiful and cherished edition. Okay, this next one I struggled with. It is Best Chapter Headers, and I know for a fact, there are so many beautiful books that I have adorable little doodles and illustrations before the chapters. I am just blanking. None of them are coming to mind, so please let me know which ones that you can think of that you know of. Actually, Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. This is is a cozy fantasy about an orc. It's sapphic. It's about running a coffee shop. It's very cute. And you know what? Yeah, the little doodles for each chapter, these are adorable. That one just came to mind. The original one on my list, however, was If an Egyptian Cannot Speak English by Noor Naga. This is an experimental love story that's so much more than that, takes place in Egypt. And within the first part of the 3 within this book, we begin each chapter with a question. And I just thought that that was so creative. So maybe it's not a drawing per se, but it's still at the beginning of a chapter and it's still an artistic choice, right? Sure. Some of my favorites include question. If you understand why a hound is snapping at you, have you already pardoned him the meat from your leg? Question. If your lover lives in a building grand enough to have a servant's staircase, how long before she sends you down it? Question. Can home be passed from one body to the next like a secret whispered in the ear? Question. If a city is actively trying to kill you, should you take it personally? Question. What if female arousal is just the belief that you will not die at this man's hands? And so on and so forth. Also one of my favorite covers ever, just saying. The next category is best illustrations, and I read a lot of graphic novels, so very hard to choose. First of all, anything by Tilly Walden, of course. She's my favorite graphic novel artist ever. I also have a very tender spot for The Art Within Feelings by Majid Thap. This is definitely a strong contender. I love the color palettes and how they strengthen the theme of how emotions vary in each season. Of course, The Tea Dragon Society is top tier by Kay O'Neill. These 3 sit on my favorite shelf, or I guess they would if they fit. They're too big. These take place in a world where little dragons grow tea leaves on their body and our characters befriend the dragons, and it's just so cozy. The art is so cozy as well. However, I think the most unique art sits in another one of my favorites ever, and it is The Shadows by Zabu and Hippolyte. This is such a strong story about having to flee your home to find a safer one, and every aspect of this book is so powerful, it takes your breath away, and the art is no exception. The next category is Best Spine. How disappointing is it when you get a book with a bomb cover and then you have to hide it within your shelves and the spine is lame? Ugh. So let's give a warm round of applause for the people who considered the spine in their designs. One of them is Another Sin Confession, because I did recently purchase The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi by Shannon Chakraborty. This is a new release about a retired pirate who accepts one final adventure. The internet is going absolutely wild for this one, and I'm excited to join the hype. This is another one of those books where both editions are so equally beautiful to me. It was honestly hard to choose, but they could have easily ceased this beautiful gold shiny designing and gave us a plain boring black spine, but they didn't. Luckily for me, luckily for us, they brought these lovely details to the spine as well, and I could not be more grateful. Just look at it. Ah, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's give a scoop to that 3rd classic book we were mentioning earlier, because the spine is top tier. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jewel Varn. This is a classic about an ocean adventure, and of course the whole thing is jaw-dropping, but the shiny details on the spine specifically are just out of this world in my opinion, my favorite being this silly little jellyfish. So good. I love these editions of classics. However, my absolute favorite spine sits on one of my favorite books, and it is The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. This one follows a small royal who goes on little adventures across planets and learns many simple yet profound life lessons. I mean, of course, it's a Penguin Classic edition. Is anyone surprised that it's gorgeous? However, in my opinion, this is my favorite in the whole collection, and most importantly, the fact that they brought some little planets onto the spine did not go unnoticed for me. This little Saturn and the little stars, it brings me so much serotonin. So that's why it wins this category in my opinion. So cute. And the final question in this tag, aside from the one that I added afterwards, is favorite cover of all time. It's a tie between 3, kind of. The first one is, of course, Only Castle in the Mirror by Mizuki Sujimura. First of all, the pink. Second of all, art style overall. This is the same designer as How Do You Live. Third of all, it would have been a crime to not include this one because I do have the Wolf Queen tattooed on my body. This is one of my favorite books ever. It's a slow magical realism story about a group of kids who become a group of friends after getting access to a magical castle. So let's consider this 2nd or 3rd place. But tied for 2nd or 3rd place is Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson. This is about our protagonist who nannies her old college roommate's children, but the only catch is that said children have the ability to spontaneously combust into flames. This is one of those covers that catches your eye and you're so excited because you want to read this story. Whatever this cover is, this is what you want to read. And then you read the blurb and you're like, this has nothing to do with the cover. However, this is it. This is what it is. Children on fire. Flaming, burning children. So good. So good. Lonely Castle in the Mirror and Nothing to See Here are both 5-star books in my opinion. The next book is my favorite cover, but I thought it was a little bit mid. But the cover... Ooh! If you're not new here, you probably know already. And that is The Book of Goose by Yun Lee. This is a slow story about 2 teenage girls who write macabre stories together back in mid-1900s France. This is easily my favorite cover on my shelf. I love the geese. I love the big, bold circles. They're such simple design choices, but I think they all just go together impeccably. Just everything about this cover. Everything about it. You name it. I love it. So you're looking at it. This is my favorite cover that I've seen, but I would love to hear yours. Now, since I make my own rules, I decided to make my own category, which is simply honorable mentions, because there are some books that if I didn't mention, I would probably go to book jail because they're so good. So let's avoid prison together and talk about more books. First of all, we have Yoke by Mary H.K. Choi. This is about two sisters who swap identities in order for one to receive healthcare, but this is the only book I've seen where the design from the back and the front join forces on the pages. They printed little hands on the pages, so the two sisters are holding hands on the pages. I'm never gonna get over this. Are you kidding me? So yeah, there is no category for book with best linking designs on paper, but I had to say something. Wow, what else do we have? Forgive me, bookish father, for I continue to bookishly sin. I bought a whole trilogy. I just raw dogged a whole trilogy. I haven't read any of them, but I bought all three because I had to, because I swear to goodness, if I read one of these and loved it and wanted to buy the rest, I think they're discontinuing this cover series. I'm sure you understand. And that's the Shady Hollow trilogy by Janelle Black, which is a cozy murder mystery series about animals solving crimes. I'm sorry. I apologize for knowing myself too well and knowing that I will need all three of these, and that if all three of those books don't match, I will slowly lose my marbles. Because look at how cute these books are. Look at how cute they are. Are you serious? Are you kidding me? The colors, the doodles, the animals, the colors. I already said that. The everything. This is some of my favorite bookish artwork ever, and they all go together so great. And you just saw these cute covers. You just saw them. They're switching them with these. Or at least these were harder to find than these, and I think they're switching them to these. Either way, if I couldn't find one of these books with this cover and had to have this one no. Straight to jail. Straight to jail. And the final self-made category under the honorable mentions umbrella is best glow-in-the-dark books. Because how fun is that? And a book glows in the dark. Who thought of that? Whoever you are, thank you. Earthlings by Sayaka Murata glows in the dark. This is about a teenage girl who believes that she has superpowers, but they still cannot protect her from the perils of the real world. Not only does it win glow-in-the-dark points, but it also has such an adorable little mascot, and the typography is great. This one just deserves applause all around, I think. And finally, Haunted by Chuck Palahniuk also glows. This is about a group of writers who all sign up for a retreat to finish their books, and duppery unfolds. This is my copy from high school, and in high school I accidentally left this book atop a mound of laundry, and I didn't know that the face glows in the dark. Oh no, this isn't like Earthlings. It's not the letters that glow in the dark. It's the spooky face that glows in the dark. And I made the foolish mistake of peering at said mound of laundry and discovering it personified. Needless to say,
Ow! Jump scare.
and there you have it. Those were my choices for the aesthetically pleasing book tag. Now dead, we're bringing it back to life. I'd love to know what your favorite cover is of all time in the comments down below if you'd like. I will be reading them. I love appreciating book art. I just love appreciating books in general, and I love when we can appreciate books together. So it's just a magical space down there. Thank you so much for joining me in this cozy corner of the internet, and thank you to everyone on patreon.com who keep this cozy corner of the internet alive. It is thanks to y'all that I'm able to upload as frequently as I do, that I'm able to call this my job, so thank you, thank you, thank you. If you yourself would like to join the book club, join the Discord, get downloadables, that will be linked down below. Speaking of beautiful covers, we will be reading The Priority of the Orange Tree and A Day of Fallen Night together as friends next week, so stay tuned for that. And as always, thank you for clicking, thank you for caring, and thank you for being nice. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!